2 Kings chapter 4, all right? Verse 8 through 10. We're going to talk about my boy Elisha, but not too much. We're actually going to talk about his friend, the Shunammite woman. All right, one day, Elisha passed through Shunem, and a leading lady of the town talked to him into stopping in for a meal. And then it became just his custom. Whenever he passed through, he stopped by every time. Now, I'm certain, she said to her husband, that this man who stops by with us all the time is actually a holy man of God. So why don't we add on a small room upstairs, furnish it with a bed, a desk, a chair, a lamp, so that when he comes, he can stay with us. God, I just want to give this moment to you. I want to make sure my words are your words. I thank you that your spirit is in this space and that, you just meet us where we're at. In Jesus' name, amen. The title, if I were to title it, is going to be Furnishing the Heart of the Leader. We were talking about prayer this morning, that space where we were all on the same page of just finding that rest, sitting down. It's so cool how God works, and that this is what I've been preparing this week, because it's really about furnishing our hearts for that secret place. As I read this passage, I was looking at these items that are listed: a bed, a desk, a chair, a lamp. I'm like, that is so specific. So there has to be something to it. And I just start looking at the parallels of what that looks like as we start creating spaces in our hearts for God to work. So in this story, this amazing Shunammite woman, she seeks to create that safe space, a secret place for the current voice of God, the presence of God of that time. He was the mouthpiece of God, and she not only just gives him a room in the house or just give him the corner, maybe like a mat in the corner. She goes on top of her house and builds above her own home. We all live in New York, right? We got neighbors upstairs. That's not convenient. So she builds this place on top of her home, puts walls up, furnishes it, and she just does. That's what I love about it. She doesn't just give him that space and just say, yeah, fill it with what you need. She goes out of her way to fill that space so that as soon as he steps into it, as soon as the presence of God steps into that room, it can start its work. That's pretty crazy. When I was, a little more about me. I was born in Orlando. Shout out to anybody online in the room. Florida's great, especially in this season right now where I'm freaking freezing and slipping on ice. I miss it dearly. But I was born there. My dad had moved me and my sister and my mom up to Atlanta when I was about 3, but all of my family still lived in Florida. And every summer I would spend about 6 weeks just living there in Florida, basically. My grandparents had just built this house right before we moved, and one of the rooms my grandmother had set aside as a sewing room, but as soon as we moved away, she was like, no, this is going to be your room. And she let me have full reign. 6-year-old me, as a 5-year-old, 6-year-old, I got to pick out the stuff in the room, and that was peak 90s. I had Shaq and Penny posters all over the walls. I had the cartoon Batman, bed sheets, making forts in the corner. That place for 6 weeks was my home, and it was because I had the opportunity to have my grandparents just make it my space, which is so beautiful. So I love that this Shunammite woman creates this space with intention, not just for convenience, but with intention for the presence of God. Let's start at the bed. Psalms 11:28. Come to me, all who labor are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. As I think of a bed, I think of comfort, I think of rest, I think of healing, a place to fall in the midst of the labors of us leading. working with people, caring for people has a lot of weight. And it's not meant for us to carry that alone, but to come and to, like, I just imagine just plopping down into this bed and just finding rest into it. It's about creating a space for God to take his time with us. Take his time in that secret place, to slow down, to pause, to actually breathe in his presence. And in that space of rest is where we actually can find our healing. Resting actually gives your body the opportunity to focus all of its energy that it's using to do all the work you do during the day. When you rest, all that energy actually goes into healing and repairing things that have gone wrong throughout that day. So without that space to heal, to rest, and to just let God do his work in us, and to sit in that space, we won't find the true healing. There's places that we don't even know we're hurting, that as we rest, he starts revealing, but it's in a way that we're not having to deal with the hurt because, we're in the presence, and my healing is happening in that space. Man, who loves Pastor Kevin? I think he embodies the bed. I think he embodies the rest. He picks up the mic, and I'm already like, bro. If you spend any time with him, you feel at peace. You feel rested. You feel loved. And I love that. So thank you for that, brother. I'll keep. Next is the chair. Now, a chair is crazy because there are only about 6 references in the entire Bible about a chair. In that time, chairs weren't a thing. It took a lot of energy. It took a lot of work, craftsmanship to even make a chair. So just thinking about that, the Shunammite woman and her husband were downstairs in their beautiful home, lounging on a mat, but they set the time and place and the money to put a chair in that room. A chair is an example of authority. All throughout, so this is the only reference that's not directly related to either a king or a high priest that sits in a chair. Psalms 103:19, the Lord has established his throne in the heavens, and his kingdom rules over all. So as we come into this secret space, we have the opportunity to revere him, to sit in awe of who he is, to sit in awe of what he's done. Man, it takes a lot. Like it's not like the first thing that comes to mind when I come to my secret place is just that automatic reference. I come with my list. Am I right? Once we establish his authority in our life, then this is the hard part. We can start receiving judgment. So judgment seat. Isaiah 16:5. Then a throne will be established in steadfast love, and on it will sit in faithfulness in the tent of David, one who judges and seeks justice, but is swift to do righteousness. We must be willing to bring ourselves before him to be judged. If we're not letting him judge us, we're letting other things judge us. It's not a passive thing. We're not never being judged. We have to bring it to him. And in that, we are being corrected. It's not a shame. We are being corrected to grow, which is so powerful. Psalms 23. His rod and his staff, they're not there shaming me, beating me down. They're guiding and they're correcting, bringing comfort. It's not there to confuse us. Third thing, a table. When I think of a table, the first thing I think of is dinner parties. If you're not in a dinner party, you need to sign up right now. I know we got a couple weeks off, but just prepare your hearts for it. At the table is where relationship grows. This imagery gives us a picture of like just dining together, laughing, crying, just like our dinner parties, bringing encouragement and strength. And those things is what actually bonds a relationship. Sitting there on the same level, conversing. And in that, we begin to engage and discuss. And prayer must be more than just a list of desires and needs that we have that we mail off, send to sender, but it has to be a conversation. As we sit in our secret place, we listen, we talk. We listen, we talk. It goes back and forth. What I love also is when I think of a table, is just laying out all the plans, all the work that he's working on. We can look at what we've done in the past, our accomplishments, our failures, what is currently going on, what our circumstances are now, but it also gives us a hope and a plan for the future as we sit at the table. And how can we fulfill the call and the missions that he has for us if we aren't taking the time to sit at the table with the creator and author of those plans in the first place? 2 Corinthians 2:2-3. That's a lot of twos. You yourself are a letter of recommendation, written on your hearts to be known and read by all. And you show that you are a letter from Christ, delivered by us, written not with ink, but with the Spirit of the living God, not on tablets of stone, but on tablets of human hearts. He's called us to sit in that space so he can do work on us, so he can start scribing in us the words that we need to hear. But not only, I love this, it's not only for us to hear, but as we have that scribed on us, we become a living letter and testimony that goes out into our communities, into our workspaces, into our schools. It is not just for us. It's for those that we care about, those that we come in contact with. So that's the table. Man, who loves Pastor Olu? Talk about a living testimony of having the word inscribed on your heart. Bro, we'll sit up in the office and I'll just say something like, oh, my tea's gone cold. He's like, spit it out. This lukewarm starts giving me revelations. I'm like, yes, thank you, Jesus. But man, he knows what to say and when to say it, because he is soaked and it is written on his heart. Memorizing, digesting, meditating on his word makes it so much more applicable, and we can grasp at it at any moment we need it. 4th, a lamp. A lamp. Man, this is a good one. It illuminates truth. Now, darkness cannot exist in the presence of the light source. 2 Samuel 22:29. You, Lord, are my lamp, and the Lord turns my darkness into light. In the dark, where we're not letting that light into our spaces, all of the shadows look so much bigger than what they actually are. It's when we bring that light into when we let God illuminate to us what our circumstances actually are, there's no more reason to fear. He strips the reason to fear straight away. His truth is evident in the presence of the light. Luke 8:16-17, no one lights a lamp and hides it in a clay jar or puts it under a bed. Instead, they put it on a stand so that those who come in can see the light. And there is nothing hidden that will not be disclosed, and nothing concealed that will not be known or brought out into the open. As we sit in that space, he's revealing things in us. He's revealing things through us. There's just so much more opportunity to see what's truth when we bring it in his light. And that light also brings guidance. Psalms 119:105, your word is a lamp unto my, and a light on my path. I mean, we all want a spotlight. We want a spotlight to see what's going on way up ahead. But he gives us a lamp. He gives us my next step. If I look back at, when we started back in 2012, whatever it was, 2013, if I saw where God has brought FOUNT today, I wouldn't have made those steps back then. If I saw all the things I would have gone through, I'd be like, no, I'm not capable of doing any of that. But it's true, I wasn't capable. But because I had a light for what I was walking through in that space, it got me closer and closer to where I am now. I always imagine when I think of that verse, it's hard for us to like compare vision and this in the same place. Like, how am I supposed to just look here and also have a vision? But I always imagine it as seeing the top of a mountain. We see the tip, we know where we're headed, but there's no way we're going to get there by just looking at it from afar. We have to take the trail to get to the top and take those steps as we go. In most versions, not the version I just read, but a lot of the versions of that verse in 2 Kings includes that she built that room with walls. Now, it wasn't like abnormal for people to use the rooftop of their house at that time. People would set up tents up there. They'd set up like little basking areas. But no, she set up walls. This gives me a view of it being for permanency. The secret place is not meant for a season, but it's meant to be permanent. It's meant to be permanent. Psalms 91, 1-2. He who dwells in the shelter of the Most High will abide in the shadow of the Almighty. And I will say to the Lord, my refuge and my fortress, my God, in whom I trust. Man, it's not for a season. He is our refuge and our fortress. When the moments that we feel exhausted, when we feel like we've come to our end, we can fall into his comfort. We fall into that bed. We can return to the throne room, to his seat, and find our identity in his justice and his view of who we are. When we lose sight of the call and purposes he's placed on our lives, we can find him at the table and review the things that we've done. And when we start to sense fear in the dark, we can step back into the light that we've created in that space. I love that we have so much beauty and life in our church, and that so many of us have these individual characteristics, but I love that God is calling us to grow in all of them. We can't just depend on one section of what we're good at. Like, yes, we work on our strengths. We live in our strengths. But we are also called to grow in areas where we're lacking, because that's where he will be. He covers all of our bases in that space. After this house is built, after the room is built above the home, Elisha then asks, man, this is amazing. What can I do for you? She's like, nothing. I'm good. I'm set. It says she's a wealthy woman. She's well off. She's got it all under control. She just wanted to bless him. But he does a little detective work. He finds out that they're barren. And it's something that she's not bringing up because, I mean, I'm sure there was hurt. But I also believe it's something that maybe she's just like decided is dead. That dream is dead. And he prays that baby into existence. And at first they're like, no, we don't want that. We don't want the weight of what was once a big dream that we let go come back. Sometimes when we let go of the dream and the thing that we have, it's hard to like accept that God has it meant for us. It wasn't meant for that time. It was meant for now. I love that as we step into our secret places, I love our congregational prayer. I love that we are building that, but it's the flame has to start in our own spaces. In our own spaces where it's just us, and we really connect with who he is and what he's calling us to.